Welcome to the Digital PR Show. You want the future of marketing and PR? You've come to the right place. We're spilling all the secrets on what it really takes to crush it in PR, digital marketing, and agency life. No jargon and no gatekeeping. Whether you're building a brand, scaling a biz, or just here for the hot takes, we've got you covered. Let's get digital.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Digital PR Show. I'm Vanessa Arate, and today I'm joined by Scott Tibbins, and we're going to dive into content that converts, a real talk on social media strategy. So we're going to get started. Scott, can you tell us a little bit about what your day-to-day is like at CIPR?
Yeah, absolutely. So first, thanks so much for having me on the pod. I'm super excited to be here. At CIPR, I'm the owned media manager. So that encompasses everything that we touch that is owned. Obviously in media, you're familiar with paid media, with earned media, but my world is owned media. So that's social media, newsletters, blogs, web, anything that goes out that the client owns, I'm involved in. So having a team that works very closely together, there's 3 of us on the team. Always starts with our morning huddle. We're reviewing deliverables, any edits on our social calendars, staying up to date on any social trends. And from there, we kind of attack many hands, make light work. Yeah, kind of stretch things out and see how much we can conquer in a day.
That's awesome. Aside from the fact that you're constantly saving me whenever and trying to do some of that social media stuff, what can you tell me about the state of social media in 2026? What is that looking like right now?
It's a great question. Honestly, I would describe it as unstable. It's constantly changing. Obviously, we have a heavy input from AI impact on everything that's going on in the AI world, not only in terms of static AI created assets. Obviously, as AI gets a little more adaptive, we get more video content that people can't tell if it's real or not, deep fakes, all that not so fun stuff. But then there's also a heavy input of AI in copywriting. So when we look at the world of social media, TikTok, Instagram Reels, specifically talking about the algorithms, they don't actually watch your video. How they know what you're talking about in your video is derived from your captions, on-screen text elements, anything that it can read rather than what it can watch. So in a world where everybody uses AI to write, what we're seeing is there's so many videos that are reaching an audience that it probably shouldn't be, strictly because what AI wrote in the caption. AI will write a 5 or 6 paragraph caption that will also get people to trigger the read more. When people hit read more, pause a video, engage with the video, share, like, that triggers what's called pattern disruption. What that tells the algorithm is that for whatever reason, when people normally scroll past a video, this video stands out to them, whether that's a positive or a negative way. So that pattern disruption is really what differentiates the reach videos, the videos that gain massive reach, with those that kind of fall through the cracks. And people are leveraging AI to do that in their copy. And it has nothing to do with the video assets themselves, but people are interested in what's written in the copy. So it's a whirlwind. It's a bit of a mess, but it's constantly evolving. And I imagine it's going to keep evolving to stay on pace with the evolving landscape that we're in.
And for a business right now, what do you feel the best platforms are worth investing into?
You have to define who your target audience is. I think every successful business knows who they're trying to reach. Reality of the situation is if you try and reach everybody, you don't reach anybody. If you try and do everything well, you don't do anything well. So knowing what your product offering is, knowing who your target market is, really defines your audience. If you're looking for a younger demographic, obviously we know they live on TikTok. If you're looking for that 30 plus demographic, 30 through 50, young parents, if you will, Instagram's where they lean on. And if you're looking for like that older generation, don't want to put anybody under that umbrella, but that 60 plus demographic, that's when you're going to lean into platforms such as Facebook that maybe the younger demographic don't utilize as much. There are unique strategies depending on each platform, but understanding what your audience wants to see is at the heart of every successful strategy.
Yes, and you're 100% right, because my mother loves Facebook so much. She's actually also on TikTok, so I get a lot of TikTok reels from her. But is it still doable to have an organic reach?
Absolutely. Knowing what type of content your audience wants to see, very important, but having a strong hook. So the fundamentals of social media, going back to the early or late 2010s into that kind of TikTok era where video has become the most prominent form of creative, having a very powerful hook in the first 3 seconds, 2 seconds of your video is what intrigues users to watch a little bit longer. And we touched on pattern disruption, and pattern disruption can be as simple as watching more of a video than you normally do before you scroll past it. So organic reach, 100% possible, but understanding who your audience is, what they want to see, and how you can essentially gain their attention in an organic way is what differentiates a successful organic strategy and an average one.
What about when is it worth investing in paying for those types of things, like paying to reach more of a broader audience? Is that something that should kind of be discussed with the client beforehand, or is that something you should do?
I think it really comes down to what our goals are, what we're trying to achieve. If we're promoting something that we don't think organically could gain enough traction, then totally worth it. Another opportunity to do a bit of a paid strategy is if you're trying to penetrate into a different market. So if we have a very established following in our local region, such as Calgary, and we're trying to penetrate into the Vancouver market or a Toronto market, then doing a bit of a paid strategy, we're able to promote content that would organically perform well, but decide who sees it and where they see it. And that is such a valuable strategy that I wish I knew earlier in my career, but I've kind of developed it through the last 5 years of working in the social media world. Content that performs well organically is going to perform extremely well as a promoted post as well. So you can take that strong performer organic content, essentially repackage it, promote it in a new market to reach a new audience.
Let's move on to when content starts to fail. You've seen a lot of content. What are the most common mistakes that you're seeing?
I think there's two. One we kind of touched on earlier is not having that engagement right away, not having that strong audible or visual hook. The reality is people are so saturated with so much content every day. Every time they're on their phone, they're scrolling, and it has to be something that stands out to them to get them to actually watch it. Now, if people watch it, the algorithm's going to promote it to more people, and then you're going to naturally see a lift in obviously reach, but also engagement. If you reach 100 people and 5% engage with it, then if you reach 100,000 people and 4% engage with it, your engagement is still going to be way higher than if you have that lower reach. So the number one reason, in my opinion, that content fails, one, it's not the right content, but two, it's not engaging enough. It doesn't hook the audience. And in a world where we see feels like millions of pieces of content a day, how do you stand out is where you can really win.
And I think a lot of people think it's just post, 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 post. But there's a strategy that you need to have. And if you start to overpost, then you're going to lose some people. So what is the balance there?
Yeah, obviously you need to post regularly. You can't have huge gaps in your posting schedules. You can't take a few months off. You have to remain constant. But with that being said, quality over quantity is a very valid case, especially when you're trying to build a relationship with your audience. If you're trying to reach such a wide number of people and you don't actually care who they are and you don't care how long they stick around, then you can do the quantity over quality approach. But if you are a brand trying to establish yourself and create a very polished image in the eyes of your consumer, build a relationship with your consumers and become part of their daily life, then that's where the quality over quantity really kicks in. Because the reality is, if you follow a page that posts stuff that you're not interested in, you're probably going to unfollow it.
Speaking on that a little bit, how important is it to actually engage with your audience, like reply to comments and stuff like that?
Yeah, it definitely creates a lot of value and tells your audience that you're reachable is such a big thing. So when people are commenting on your posts and you are a brand and you are engaging back with them, whether you know it or not, you are directly becoming a part of people's daily lives. That's not to say they're commenting on every single post that goes out, but if Vanessa's commented on 5 of my posts as an organization in the last 3 months, she has a very positive opinion of my brand, unless they're negative comments. But either way, we are part of her life. We are part of her daily scrolling pattern. She sees our post and she goes to the comments and engages with them. So having that engagement back lets them know that not only the lights are on and you value them, but it stimulates that conversation as a very natural way to become part of somebody's daily routine.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is I need to troll your Instagram a little bit more.
Please do.
Yeah, I will. I will. So is there a type of content or platform that you see or use that you see other businesses actively avoiding that maybe they really shouldn't?
Every platform we touched on has a different target audience, different daily active users. There's an interesting dilemma, and I don't think dilemma is the right word, but if we talk about differentiation between platforms, the one that comes to mind is LinkedIn. So we have our TikToks, our Instagrams, our Facebook, Threads. I want to say X, but we'll get into X in a second. They're very consumer centric, outward facing, non corporate comms, B2C, if you will, rather than like B2B style. So it really depends what your goals are. If you are a consumer brand and you're trying to grow your consumer audience, I think being on those meta platforms, the TikToks of the world, is a great place to be. If you're looking for developers or something on more of the corporate side, having that strong LinkedIn presence is where you can make a ton of important connections, valuable connections, rather consistent with the quality over quantity approach, where you make those connections that actually directly hold weight as to what's going to come with it versus, oh, maybe somebody followed me, but they're not going to actually buy my product. On the X side, that is one that I think it's kind of on the flip side of your question. It's not one that people should, in my opinion, spend as much time on because we all know that is the wild west of the internet, we will say. But with that being said, if you have a strong strategy and you do it right, I think there is still value there. There's always going to be value in reaching a large number of people as long as you do it in a way that paints your brand in the proper light and doesn't open yourself up for any controversy.
Okay, so we're going to move on to AI and social media and how that's been changing things. I know there's a lot of people that are afraid to incorporate AI into their businesses because they're afraid they will lose their tone or their brand voice. Something that I think CIPR has been really great at doing is integrating both. But what advice do you have for businesses that are a little bit more reserved in trying to explore the AI side of social media?
I think it's a valid concern. That's not to say it should be avoided. It just has to be done right. I'm also of the mindset that you use it or you lose it. And if you don't adapt it, somebody else will, your competitor will, and they'll make strides and kind of leave you in the dust. So I think similar to what we do at CIPR with all our clients where we create custom Claude projects, or if you're operating on ChatGPT, custom GPTs, that truly encapsulate your brand voice and allows you to leverage AI, but still leverage it in a way that's true to who you are as a brand is the best way to adapt it.
And what about businesses that are over reliant on AI? Like, I know there's been a couple I've seen where sometimes they will post something and it makes no sense. How do they kind of regroup?
Another great question. I think we've all seen the obvious AI captions or the obvious AI content, whether it's that classic cartoonish graphic that looks like it was almost done with colored pencils, super cute, but clearly AI. So I think having that human element and having these conversations and conversations where you have a face in front of the camera is where brands can really win in a world of AI. The analogy I always give is people like people. At the end of the day, we like hearing what other people have to say. We like feeling that we're listening to a real person. No matter how intertwined our roles become with AI, you can't really duplicate a face. I know they're getting close, but we can still tell it's AI. So having that authenticity of who's behind the camera, that real person connection is where brands can kind of reel it back in if they have become a little bit too reliant on AI.
We're going to move on. We're going to talk about what actually works right now and how to stay ahead of the game. So, how do you stay ahead? How do you know what platform might be the next best thing that you want clients to start using or you want to start using more often?
Yeah, I think what next platform's going to be the next best thing? I think the answer is all of them. I think that's where having a very broad strategy, touching on multiple platforms, understanding who your audience is on each platform and catering your message to respective platforms is how a brand can ensure they're staying relevant and not get left behind. For example, if you were still operating solely on Facebook in 2026, not to say you're failing, but there's other platforms that you may be missing a huge opportunity on. So having that strategy in place early ensures that however things shift and realign, you are going to maintain relevancy and you have an audience that you can talk to, and more than one.
What advice would you be giving someone who's completely brand new to this? What is the first thing you would tell them or something you wish you had known getting into this job?
A few things. Don't be scared to try things. There was a turning point. I think it was 3 or 4 months into my first role as a social media manager where I changed the video style. I changed the way that the videos I was posting was laid out. Rather than having a 9 by 16 full screen video. I put a video on a white background and put the caption on screen above the video. The first video I posted with that style had 1.1 million views. I kept doing that style. The next month, I had a video reach 3.6 million views. The following month, a video reached 36 million views. So the reality is taking those chances and trying something new might not be great right away. And it might take a little bit of time, but you don't know until you try it what else can happen. What would have happened if I never tried that new video style? I might only have 400K views as my top video. It's a very can feel scary, especially when you're putting something out there to the world on the internet where everybody's very opinionated. But at the end of the day, you have to take risks just like in life, and you have to try something new, and you don't know until you try it.
Now, we touched on this a little bit about the captions and how people aren't really caring as much about what's in them, but somehow they still end up being on an algorithm that somebody was looking for. What about hashtags? Are those still relevant? Do they still work?
I'm of two minds. I'm a millennial. So to me, a strong hashtag is always going to make me smile. But in terms of actually reaching new people, it has become far less relevant than it originally was. One, I don't know how many people are still browsing by hashtags, especially on platforms such as Meta that have heavy AI integration, that if you search up, for example, Banff, it'll give me a little synopsis of what Banff is, and then bring up a bunch of reels that just have Banff as a location or Banff in the copy. So it's not a completely lost art because it can still have some wit and a bit of charm about it. But at the end of the day, it's more of like an SEO focus where the algorithm is looking for keywords, whether those are hashtags or not.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I always like putting really silly hashtags in my posts, and I'm never really checking if other people have done the same. So in terms of right now then, what else actually does still work? Like, should people invest in content calendars? Does that help you keep organized? What kind of stuff is working still?
Yeah, I think a content calendar allows you to see the whole picture. It allows you to understand your posting cadence. It allows you to schedule ahead, and it allows you to not miss an opportunity to share a post, especially if you have key dates that you're trying to highlight. For example, we got St. Patrick's Day just around the corner. Any dates like that, you can look at your editorial calendar, plan content for those dates, and ensure they're scheduled beforehand. I do think being involved is still incredibly important, whether that's sharing stories natively in apps, whether that's engaging in other people's content, liking it, saving it, sharing it, reposting it, commenting on it, however you want to go about that. Both things need to happen for a successful strategy to be as complete as it can. So there's not we use a content calendar and that's all we do approach. It's a balance between being involved, but also having that schedule element that keeps everybody on track.
What is the very first thing you do with a new client that wants to invest in content creation?
Understanding the why. I think without being able to understand the why of anything, we can't fully deliver on it. So that comes down to client goals. What value do they see in this? Are there other opportunities? Can we expand on this? So if they say, oh, I want to build out a killer Facebook strategy. Okay, why? Are we reaching the right people there? Are we diversifying our product offering? Are we able to actually ensure that this is the proper platform and proper strategy? If your why is, oh, I just want to reach a bunch of people, then we should diversify and be on quite a few different platforms. If your answer is, this is where I know where my target demographic lives, that buys my product, so I need to serve them the product here, then absolutely. So understanding those client goals and understanding the why is very important. And that's where we can provide a lot of insight as well. On the CIPR side, we do that market research. We understand where those demographics live. We understand different products and services have different appeal in different places at different times. Fully understanding the scope of what they are looking for is heart of the priority one when you onboard a new client.
And let me tell you something, this man knows what he's doing. I'm serious. I would be completely lost if I didn't have Scott as my leader and my mentor at this company, because he is so organized and he has helped me a lot with learning how to do better content. And speaking of that, What is your favorite platform right now? It can be professionally or not.
It's hard because favorite, there's where I spend most of my time, and then there's favorite. So I, like everybody else, find myself scrolling, find myself on Instagram. That's where most of my friends live. That's where I spend time to stay connected, to stay social. But at the same time, there's a lot of things I don't like about it. And I think that's kind of just the narrative of social media in general. You have to be part of it to stay relevant, whether you're an organization, whether you're trying to maintain that social life balance. But there's a lot of negative things about it as well. It impacts a lot of what we do, a lot of the way we think. There's obviously the classic comparing yourself to other companies or comparing yourself to other people. But at the end of the day, it feels necessary, even if we don't love it.
Do you feel that it's important for a business to keep their tabs on competitors' social media accounts?
Yes, I do, for more than one reason. Primary thing that people think is, oh, if somebody has a successful social presence or social strategy, we should do what they're doing. And although that is true to an extent, I'm of the belief that if you try and do what they're doing, you're only ever going to be second best at it. So to take what they're doing, take the positives from it, and then develop your own strategy with a spin, with some other research that you've done, can actually differentiate you and propel you past your competitors that you've been monitoring. There's also on the flip side of it, which I've experienced many times, when you see your competitors copying your strategy. To me, imitation is the best form of flattery. There's an element to that there, although there's also a frustration that goes with it that we were the ones that put the time in to develop this new strategy, and now you're essentially trying to leverage it. To my earlier point, if they're trying to do exactly what we do, they're only going to be second best at it. So I do think it's important to see holistically what's going on in the competitive landscape on various platforms. But that doesn't mean you should be tunnel visioned on it. You have to stay in your own lane, although you can adapt elements from competitors.
Okay, I do have one last question.
No, keep
What
going.
is a piece of content that you've created that you're most proud of?
In a previous role, there was a organization I worked with that gave away a lot of money. They gave away $10,000 a week to a new family to get groceries for a year. So that was amazing to be a part of. The founder and CEO of that organization growing up didn't always have food on the table. So a big part of what he wanted to do was give back. So rather than put the money in traditional marketing, he said, let's do social impact. Let's give money away. So that was amazing. When I came on board, that was the strategy that was in place. They were doing a weekly giveaway. Then they would interview the winner, similar to this, very heartfelt, but at the same time, it wasn't reaching people on social media. It was probably getting 7,000 to 10,000 views max. And the comments would be, this is fake. No company would really do this. So I did what we just talked about. I looked at what the competitive landscape was doing. What are people doing that are giving things away on social media? And the reality of it was that there were these philanthropic influencers that would go out in the street, give people money, buy them food, whatever, change people's lives, gives them tickets to a sporting event, to a family. It would be super emotional. I would get millions and millions of views. So through market research, I said, if we want to get views, this is what we need to do. So we outsourced a talent to go out and give away money to a new family once a month, $10,000. It was a 10 video social impact campaign. The average views were over 10 million views per video. The top video had 34 million views. And although the analytics are very good, it's the impact that it had on people's lives allows you to say, okay, I was successful in more than one way. I actually made a difference. We helped people. Although, yes, we did generate a lot of views off it and increase brand awareness and generate app downloads and all of this. The heart of what we were doing was born from the idea that we want to actually make a difference. I just kind of allowed us to make a difference to our organization as well.
Wow, that's really, really cool. I don't think my social media presence has done anything remotely close to that. Well, thank you for listening to the Digital PR Show. Thank you, Scott, for being on our show today. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you next time.
Well, there you have it. That's a wrap on this episode of the Digital PR Show, where the future is digital and so are we. Make sure you subscribe or catch us on socials at CIPR Comms or on the web at CIPRcommunications.com. Talk soon!